Hello, you fucks. Welcome to John Solo's Beer Brigade. I'm John Solo. There's little Alyssa Gramling.
Hi.
Hello. Hey, you did it right. You waited and you timed it perfect. Look at you go. You're like on the ball today. Yay.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, I'm not. Although, so last night
Are you on a ball? Well, you are
I
on a
am.
ball.
I am on a ball. And my freaking, hang on here. We got to get this right. Let's try, nope, not that one. Yeah, that's not too bad. We'll go with that one today. Yeah, so last night I was recording a session, and I decided I was going to take a long dinner break and a little bit of a nap, and I never woke up from my nap. Yeah,
Yeah.
that happens. I set an alarm. I just didn't get up after my alarm. So yeah, that was lovely. I woke
You
up.
turned it off and just,
Yeah,
yeah.
I did that. Well, I got up at 3:45 this morning. So boom,
Oh, Lord.
I did yoga. I meditated. I got lost in videos about how to cut down trees with a saw. And I watched YouTube videos on that it becomes an issue when you're out
Why?
like jeeping and overlanding, and I have a chainsaw, but it's kind of it works, but it's kind of a pain in the ass. And so little hand saws and how to process wood so you have firewood, and so that's what I did this morning. Yeah, and then I dropped off Doc at the shop. He's getting his brakes done today. That's a beautiful thing. That's like 3 months in the
Mine
making.
got done a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, do you notice a difference in your pedal now?
Yes.
Yeah, I can't wait for that. My pedal's very squishy. I think that's the word for the technical term for it. Yeah, so we got a shit ton of books to get through today because I was not here last week. So yeah.
Yeah, and a shit ton to review, too.
Nice. Well, look at you go.
I had a bunch of arcs this week, and that's all I did.
You are the arc gal. You're very popular. Let's see what we got. You ready to go with this?
Oh, yeah.
All right, here we go. First one up. Ta-da!
City of Blood, Godstone Saga Book 6 by Jocelyn Drake and narrated by Cale Williams.
Great. Here we go. So that's what everybody's listening to this week, I know for sure. Have you listened to it yet?
No, I haven't even listened to the series. I haven't listened to anything in about 2 weeks.
You've just been reading a ton?
Yeah.
Well, then that puts
There's
our
at least 6 of them.
That puts our bet out where you were, not our bet, our challenge where you were supposed to listen, or did you read a hockey book or did you listen to a hockey book?
I read one.
Oh, okay. So you didn't even listen to one. All right. Well, we'll get to that here in a bit. By the way, your tag today says still hates hockey. So.
And it's accurate.
Next that one came out on the 18th. So that's been a couple weeks ago. We got a couple weeks to catch up here. Next one we had was
oh my God, why can't I speak? A temporary Tristan Book 1 by H.L. Day. And the way it was said is narrated by Mr. Jake Whaley.
Whaley's the way you say that.
Okay.
I used to go to school with a guy named Whaley. And by the way, your connection cut out there for a second. It's A Temporary Situation, Tristan and Dom, Book 1 by H.L. Day. So there you go.
Okay.
But that one came out on the 18th as well. That's all right. I got an email a couple days ago from a prospective client, and occasionally I get these where it says Mr. Solo. And I'm like, who the fuck is that? But anyways, next we had...
I was drinking. Hold on. I Am God's Dagger by K.A. Merkin, narrated by Wyatt Baker.
When she's talking about dagger, do you think that's
code for something?
Code, yeah, that's what I'm thinking there. That one came out on the 18th
Could be code for something.
Then we
had You Again, Men of Olympus, Book 1 by Diana, oh my gosh, Roman, and narrated by Michael Dean.
That one came out on the 19th, and we
had Dracon Saviors by Brenda Cawthorn and narrated by Garrett Rains.
That was on the 19th. Then we had
My Wildest Date, Raised by Wolves, Book 3 by Casey Morales, narrated by John Curtis.
And that one was also on the 19th. He's kind of doing a half ha. It's kind of a half. It's just a little bit ah. Then we had,
And so far, everybody's been shirtless,
yeah,
except for him.
of course.
The Aliens Kidnapped Omega. The Aliens Omega Book 1 by Sienna Way, narrated by Kurt Graves.
I just picked up a really cool dual narration I'm starting in November for Podium with Kurt, and I'm very excited about it. It's kind of it's MM romance, but it's kind of a fantasy kind of book. It's a series. I think it's called Perilous Courts, something to that effect. I'm very excited about it. I get to work with Kurt again here real soon. That
Cool.
one, congrats, Kurt. That one came out on the 19th. Then we had,
Huntsman, Fox Hollow Zodiac Book 1 by Morgan Bryce, and narrated by John Solo.
That's Me. And that is fantastic, by the way. We love Morgan around here. That one came out
Oh,
on the
look, another shirtless person.
23rd. Yeah, they happen all the time around here. Next, we had
Cross, Formicary Series Book 2 by S.E. Harmon, narrated by Kai Rubio. I
that
cannot
one.
speak today.
Yeah, it's very rough. That came out on the 23rd.
Words are
Then
hard.
we had,
Oh, look, no shirtless person. A Betrayal of Storms, Realm of Fae Book 1 by Ben Alderson, and narrated by Joel Leslie.
and that one came out on the 23rd as well. Then we had,
Swept Away. Rabbit Hollow Book 1 by Amy Bellows and C.W. Gray, and narrated by Connor Brown.
and that one also came out on the 23rd. Now, the next one, I'm very excited about this, okay? Because I've been up since 3:30 this morning. I had time to do things. One of the things I did was I fiddled with one of the things that bugged me when we played these audio clips. Well, two things. One of the overlays kept on popping up over top of the cover. So we'd have the cover, then like a smaller version of the cover. So that bugged me. I didn't like that. It's not very professional. The second thing that bugged me was that when at the end of the clip, I had to like manually push a button to bring it back over, and sometimes you don't really know when the end of the clip. You remember a couple weeks ago when
So
that happened
basically,
to
at
us?
3 o'clock this morning, you were fiddling.
Well, like 6, but yeah. So,
Oh.
what's going to happen here is if everything works correctly, when I press play on this, the correct cover is going to come up on the screen. It's going to play perfectly. At the end of it, what's going to happen is it's going to automatically flip back over to us, and it's going to have the cover that we just played displayed right up here. That's what's going to happen. All right. Check this shit out. I'm very
That's
proud
what
of
you're
this.
hoping is going to happen.
Yeah. Well, it should happen. Here we go.
Hey everyone, it's your favorite audiobook narrator, Liam DeCosmo, here to talk about one of the more recent books that I've completed. This is Madman by Only James, which is the 5th book in the Necessary Evils series. So if you've been keeping up on the series, you already are familiar with the characters and you probably know where this one is going. For those that don't, however, let me give you a quick snapshot of what you'd be walking into with this one. So, Avi Mulvaney is many things: a son, twin, owner of the fashion label Gemini. He's also a murderous psychopath. So him and his brother Asa make one brutally efficient monster, ridding the world of predators who victimize the innocent. Felix Navarro knows exactly who he is: baby brother, fashionista, vigilante. While he's not happy that his big brother is with a Mulvaney, the union has had its perks, like a paid internship with Gemini. But all things come with a cost, and for Felix, that's having to endure Avi Mulvaney each and every day. Felix doesn't like Avi. He's cocky, condescending, overbearing, and inappropriate. He's also sexy, brilliant, and twice as lethal as Felix. So now Avi and Felix are being sent to take down a dangerous crime ring, and it's all either of them can do to try to keep their hands off of each other. So which way will this go? Because let's be honest, who says no to a Mulvaney? Madman is a scorchingly hot, intense enemies to lovers psychopath romance with a happily ever after and no cliffhangers. And if you're like me and you've been thoroughly invested in each and every one of these brothers' stories, this one does not disappoint. So hopefully you guys pick this one up. And if you haven't read the other ones, I do suggest starting at the beginning and working your way through. But if not, this book will absolutely whet your appetite and get you interested to see how everything else unfolds. All the best. Cheers.
Did you see that shit? Did you see it?
Yeah, I
Now,
saw that.
it's still the cover up on here because we always discuss these books afterwards. But isn't that the coolest freaking thing ever? Come on. I mean,
Hey, it actually worked too.
it took me some work to make that happen. Congratulations on the release, by the way. And we love Omni, and we
And
of course
holy
love Liam.
crap, this I guess this series is, I'm gonna have to read it. or listen to it because it sounds amazing.
It
Or,
looks
yeah,
it looks hot. I think that's how you would put it.
so hot.
So hot. That one released on the 23rd, and thanks again for sending in that clip, Liam. We really do appreciate it. Next, in the vein of Liam, we had
Crankshaft, Big Bull. Okay, Big Bull Mechanics, Book 1 by K.M. Newhold, narrated by Tim Page and Liam DeCosmo.
See, you say bull like I used to say bull, because I used to say bull, Bool, bull, but it's really bull.
Bull.
Yeah, so you say it with the southern accent, like I traditionally said it. And then, of course, I
I
have a
am
Tracy.
Southern.
Yeah, well, I have a Tracy, and Tracy told me in no uncertain terms I was not saying that correctly, but I've learned. That one came out on the 23rd as well. Next, we had
Step Brothers in the Attic by Ryan Field, narrated by Rod Morningstone.
How do you think you keep stepbrothers out of the attic? Is that like a...
Well, this is like a spin-off of kind of like an MM romance version of Flowers in the Attic.
I see.
I read the
reminds me
summary
of the
before.
South Park
Yeah.
skit. Though it reminds me of the South Park thing where they're like, "You got hippies. You got hippies in your attic. Well, how do you keep them away? You give them a guitar and a joint, and you." Anyways, I know you don't like South Park. That one came out on the 25th.
Okay.
Next, we had
Marco Polo. Anyway, Gentlemen of the Emerald City, Book 4 by L.A. Witt and narrated by Michael Furiolo. I had to do it.
Yeah.
I had to do it. It said Marco, so I'm like, Polo.
Reminder as well, Michael's going to be with us at GRL this year along with Greg.
Yeah.
And we got Zach is on board. Declan Winters is coming as well, so he's going to be there too. Very
Yeah, I
excited
saw
to,
that.
I've never met Michael in person. I've had him on the show several times, and he's a great guy. We're buddies at this point, but never actually met him in person. I'm excited about that.
Yeah, he's very nice, and I could have gotten him to do a snippet of this, and I just forgot.
Right. You had your fallback, so that one came out on the 25th. Then we had
Ambiguous, IOU, Book 1 by Leslie McAdam, narrated by Hamish Long and Kurt Graves.
That one also came out on the 25th. Then we had
A Beach Far Away by B.L. Maxwell, narrated by Guy Verizer.
I like how careful you were saying that book title. That one came out on the 25th. Then we had
Pretty Man, not to be confused with Pretty Woman, by Ryan Field.
It's because beach can be, with southern accent, can sound like bitch.
Yeah, bitch.
That's why I was making sure you were...
I know.
Anyways, sorry.
Anyway, we got Pretty Man by Ryan Field, narrated by Brad V. Johnson.
I wonder if V is his middle name or if that was supposed to be an initial, and that's just the way that came out. Not exactly sure. I do like the cover, though. That is very reminiscent of the Pretty Woman cover. That's freaking awesome. That one came out on the 25th. That one came out on the 26th. Then we had
Breakaway. No, we don't have Breakaway. That's you.
No.
Sorry, we're looking down too far. Kinked Up. It's a kink thing by MC Roth, narrated by Shannon Gunn.
I also like how you said that. It's a kink thang. You said that there.
Thang.
Yeah, I do that.
Yeah, even though I corrected you on that before.
Yeah, I know. I saw that. That one came out on the 26th. And next, thanks to my tech playing this morning, we have Hello, You Fucks. Hey, it's John Solo. Alyssa asked me to do a promo this week because she slacked and didn't get anybody else to, I guess. That's the only time she ever asked me to do it. She didn't really care about me so much as about covering the slot. Take that as you will. Anyways, this week we, actually, I think this came out last week. I'm not exactly. It's the Sin Bin, Breakaway. It's a Sin Bin book 1, Breakaway, and it's from E.M. Lindsay. And this is one of my favorite books that I've worked on recently. It was fantastic. I'm going to read you the promo here and try not to think about Lys's slot when I do it. The last thing Ravi Chandler needs is to define his career by a single mistake he made off the ice. But it's not that easy when you're the captain of an NHL team and the press is always watching, waiting to pounce. And to make matters worse, Ravi now has community service under the supervision of a former professional figure skater who hates him with a fiery passion. But things aren't so simple when it comes to Ice King Adrian Fisher. He's hot but cold. He's soft but sharp. And in spite of telling Ravi there can never be anything between them, Adrian can't seem to stay out of Ravi's orbit. Ravi's life is complicated enough without this man who can't seem to make up his mind. But as much as Ravi wants to walk away, he knows he's in it for however long Adrian will have him. So what hope does he have left? Just a miracle that the Ice King's heart will thaw and allow Ravi in. Breakaway is the first book in the Sen Ben West Coast series featuring the fictional NHL team, the Denver Huskies. This story contains bad geography, a best friend with feelings, burritos, platonic cuddling, cute squirrels, spicy food, and, of course, a happily ever after. Hope you all enjoy. This is fantastic, and I believe this book convinced little Alyssa that she likes hockey books. See you next week. Oh, there, it worked. It worked. It was just a 2.5 second pause there, so it didn't convince it. Jeez, what the hell's wrong with you in hockey? That one came out on the
book I read
29th.
Probably would have.
Really? But not that. So, well, we'll talk about that. I'm sure it's coming up here. That one came out on the 29th, and we love you and Lindsay. Thank you so much. Next, we had
Prince of L.A. by Patty Logan, narrated by Michael Dean.
And we are working on a little Patty Logan book today. We'll be finalizing it. I was supposed to finalize it last night, but I fell asleep. Nothing to do with the book. I just fell asleep. And that's the Silver series. Silver Bullets book one.
Nothing to do with
No.
I had to giggle, sorry.
Alyssa says it's hot. That one came out on the 29th as well. Next we had...
I'm not the only one that said it was hot. Soul on Fire. Cast Iron Farm Series Book 3 by Ali Spooner. Narrated by Heidi Benhammer.
Ali or Ali, either way, but the last name is a verb. The Spooner.
Spooner.
That is, the definition is they like to spoon. That one came out on the 29th as well. Then we had...
Playing It Safe. Sydney Smoke Rugby Book 7 by Amy Andrews. Narrated by Bree Jackman.
How do you feel about rugby books? Are you all right with those?
I've never read one.
Well, that means you don't... Well, actually, I kind of know how you work, and that probably means you don't like them. That's... If you've never read, it's like kale.
I've never seen a rugby match before.
Kale. I don't want to eat it. And it's like that's the way you work. So that one came out on the 30th. Then we had
Lost Touch, Mismatch Mates Book 5 by Elliot Grayson, narrated by Chris Chambers.
And that one came out on the 30th. Then we had
Cruel and Careless, Worthless Boys Book 1 by Bailey Nicole, narrated by Kurt Graves and Iggy Toma.
And that
Damn, he was busy this week.
30th. Yes, he was.
Or these past 2 weeks.
Next we had
The Royal Roommate Disaster, Frat Brats of Santa Barbara Book 2 by Hayden Hall, narrated by John Waters.
Have you read any of the Fat Brats books yet?
No.
Just checking.
No.
That one came out on the 30th. Then we had
Hard Justice, Asylum Fight Club Book 3 by Tibby Armstrong and Bianca Summerland, narrated by Gabriel McKnight.
That one came out on the 30th. Then we had
Road to You, Beyond the Cove Book 5 by Jacelyn Quinn, narrated by Kurt Graves.
That one came out on the 30th. Kurt was very busy. Then we had
Yeah, he was. How to Steal a Thief, Unholy Trifecta Book 2 by A.J. Sherwood, narrated by Iggy Toma and Antonio Amato.
I like how you say that. Antonio Amato. That one came out on the 30th as well. Then we had
A Taste of Gold and Iron by Alexander Rowland, narrated by Casey Jones.
Is it in the Monkeys? That one came out on the 30th
no.
too. Then we had
Pack of Lies, Monster Hunt, Book 1 by Charlie Adhara and narrated by Joel Leslie.
And that one came out on the 30th. Then we had
Mahu Surfer, Mahu Investigations Book 2 by Neil S. Plackey, narrated by Stan Jensen.
It turns out that the K and the C, when they're next to each other like that, they make a K sound.
Plackey.
Not a K.
I said Plackey.
No, it's not Arabic. It's a K sound. Anyways, that one came
Okay,
out on the
fine.
30th. Now, I can't wait to see, because you did so much reading this week. I can't wait to see what you got into. It looks like there's some fun
Yeah,
ones
so
here.
much reading.
Yep. The first one we had was.
Sworn Enemy. I received this arc from Kelly Fox. I gave it 5 bullets.
Heyo.
It's enemies to lovers, favorite trope, some red hot hate sex. Oh my god. Um, Justin and Charlie were the MCs for this. They popped up in several other books before because all of her books seem to tie into like direct Guardians, and some of those people were in there as well. The book did hit me hard because both of the MCs attempted suicide. Charlie was bullied by Justin throughout high school, and for years Justin was on a downward spiral, and he tried to take his own life too. Yeah, like I said, the book hit me hard after me losing my best friend several years ago, and it kind of gave me more questions than answers on why somebody would do this. But it was still an amazing book. I absolutely loved it. I can't wait for the rest of the series, and I just love how Kelly writes.
Well, we all do. We love Kelly to death. And five bullets, so not quite a
Yes.
bullet breaker, but very close, and definitely some trigger warnings there for everyone. Next,
Mm-hmm.
we had.
A different fish in the sea. This was another arc I'd gotten from Ashlyn Mills, and it was a bullet breaker,
Heyo.
and also 5 stars. I loved every moment of it. It was Ray, Jimmy, and Edwin were the 3 main characters. Ray was Jimmy's ex stepdad, and after Jimmy's dad divorced Ray, they remained friends. And of course, it turned into something more. And the other Edwin was a tattoo artist that works in a tattoo shop that one of their friends owns. It's book 4 of the Nerds and Tattoo series. I haven't read the first 3 yet, but I was not lost in this one. I mean, I know some people showed up from the previous books. I do plan on reading those 3. And the sexy times were amazing, and I love everything I've read by Ashlyn. And I hope there might be more in this series.
Ashlyn's our friend. I love her to death, and I'm sure that she's. I've not read any of her books yet because she hasn't paid me, but I would absolutely love to at some point.
Yeah, the first book I ever read by her was called Ba Peth. It was from like the Malicious Gods series, which is like almost like the Vino Veritas. All these different authors write these different books about gods, Egyptian or other.
Mm.
And that was the first book I ever read by her, and absolutely loved it. I've got the paperback somewhere. I bought it from her from GRL last year.
Mm-hmm. And you're a huge fan. Well, we had her on Talk to the Beard on GRL last year, those
Mm-hmm.
special edition shows, and she was fantastic. If I remember right, I talked to her about different subjects other than writing quite a bit, but
Yeah, her farm.
yeah, exactly. And she had. I was talking to her about chickens a bunch, but anyways, next is also another friend of the show here. We had a release from. Is this a new release? Well, okay, so this was
Yeah.
your hockey pick. I think this was. You got around the
Yeah.
hockey, I see.
Well, this was after KL wrote this right after you gave me that challenge. Because they messaged me after the show saying, I got this. It's going to have tentacles.
I see. So
And
it wasn't so heavy on the hockey, much more heavy on the tentacles, if I'm reading this
right.
correctly. Okay, so you got around
Yeah.
the hockey thing in some way, shape, or form. So you're a cheater, but all right, keep going.
Oh no, there was actually you gave me a loophole. You did not
Yeah,
say how long it had to be,
yeah.
and you
Loopholes
did
are
not
yeah.
say that hockey had to be the main source of the
It's
book.
okay. It's fine. It's fine. Just go on with your cheating heart here. Let's hear how this was. I'm sure it was great.
This one was a bullet breaker.
Hey, look at that.
Puck is one of the main characters, who is a hockey player, has a ritual that after every game takes a shower by himself and gets off. Um, a huge tentacle monster by the name of Solo. It's spelled, yeah, spelled differently, but I caught
Right,
it right after I read the name.
right.
Shows up and has its way with Puck.
As we
Um,
do. Yes.
he's not a willing participant at first, but then slowly comes to terms with what is happening, and as soon as it's over, the monster leaves.
You know, I hate it when I'm in the shower and tentacles show up. I mean, that's well. At first, I hate it, and then, anyways, keep going.
Well,
Yes.
I basically told them to write the dirtiest, raunchiest thing they could, and they didn't disappoint at all. Um, I think there might be a part 2 to this.
Well, I'm sure it'll be
Uh,
crawling along shortly.
the novella is also dedicated to both me and you.
I,
And
you know,
there was very little to do with hockey,
I've
more
never,
about the tentacles, but yeah.
I've been in the industry long enough where I've influenced a few books, but I've never been written into a tentacle book before that I know of. Now, that being said, there could be a Jane. I don't, but you know, this is a first for me, and I feel honored. So that is fantastic.
And it's out on Smashwords.
Excellent. Well, congratulations on the release, Kale Hires, and I'm glad that you like that. I feel a little bit like you cheated on this one, but it's all right. I would have done the same. Next we had
Loopholes. Dragon's Honor. I gave this one 5 bullets and 5 stars. I got this arc from Nora. It's book 2 of her Irresistible Dragons series. And she has outdone herself once again with this one. Wilmer, Germán, and Riordan were amazing together. I loved every moment, but she ended it on a major cliffhanger. And now I gotta wait until December to find out to read the 3rd book.
well, you'll have to put up with listening to the second book because we're about to record that here in the next week or two. So
Yeah. Well, like I said, I absolutely love this one. It's packed with action and not just sexy action either. She had me on the edge of my seat for 3, especially for the 3 chapters towards the end, and the way she left it was just like, I'm just like, why did you know? And like seeing what she did with Polani in the Irresistible Omega series, I am now scared.
I have this theory that cover models are underpaid. That's my theory at this point because they can't even afford shirts. It's just
I can't tell if that's Germán or Wilmer. Vicky
I got in
said, I
trouble with
think
this
that
last
was
time. Yeah, where I thought that it was a dragon
Germán.
on the cover, but it was so I'm not even gonna guess who if it's a dragon or we don't know. Let's just keep it. Can't you tell by his nipples? That's obviously Wilbur. That's
I can't even see nipples.
yeah, you can.
There are words in the way.
Right under the R there. You got right under and then the O is almost suspiciously like circle. It's like a little
Okay.
anyways.
It's Germán. Tracy said it's Germán.
I can't wait to read this one as well because obviously we're doing it in the next week or two, and I always look forward to Nora's work. Next we had
Prince of LA. I got the arc for this one as well from Patty. Gave it 4 bullets and 5 stars. This is like basically a spin-off of a spin-off of a spin-off. New series about Leo and Max, who are working in the FBI for Lincoln Snow, who shows up in her Death and Destruction series. and the spin-offs that follow. You even see Cassidy in this one too.
Huh.
And got to see everybody from all the previous series, and including my favorite book couple, which is Jarrett and Thane. They're the main characters of the Death and Destruction series. Leo and Max's chemistry was so hot.
So hot.
It didn't so hot, and it didn't take them long before they came together, so to speak.
Hello.
I loved every moment about this book, and I can't wait for book 2.
Well,
And
we
I
love
said it several times yesterday that Patty knows how to write hot, sexy scenes.
we love little Patty Logan. She's a talented old broad. She's gonna kick my ass for that one.
She
And I'm
is.
looking forward in a month here. We get to hang out at Patty's table. She's invited me over, and I'm going to make a couple stops along the way during the book signing. But I think I'm going to predominantly hang out at little Patty Logan's table because I love her to death, and she's fantastic. And
Well,
she
even
does.
though I read this one, oh, sorry, go
No,
ahead.
it's all right. You go ahead. I was just going to make a comment how she doesn't smell like old poop, but go ahead, please. It's in. If you
Even though
look at a lot of the older
yeah,
books of
I
hers,
did
it has
see
that
that.
review in the beginning.
Actually,
it's
it's
hilarious.
in
to
Prince
me.
of LA at the back.
There you go.
Even though I've read this, I'm still going to listen to it because I want to see how Michael Dean narrated it and put his little spin on things.
I'm sure you do. I bet all I hear is grunt. He grunts. Apparently, Michael Dean grunts better than most. You've said this. You've told
Growls.
this. Oh, it was a G word. I'm
Growls.
sorry. Growls. It's totally different than grunting, I guess.
Although you're right on up there with it.
No. I've been practicing my grunts a lot.
You're very growly.
I try and growl, not grunt, I guess. Finally, for this week, we had
Conflicted, again by Ashlyn Mills. This was another arc I received from her, and it was a bullet breaker.
Hell.
And this was a part of the Ruthless Daddy series. The series is 9 different standalones by different authors, just like the Vino and Veritas series. I loved it. There were some things that I thought were a little brutal, but I figured it was because of all the fluff I had read previous beforehand, and now I was going into a dark mafia book. The sexy times were extremely hot. She did an amazing, awesome job with it. It did have some knife play and blood play, so there are trigger warnings to this. 2 things that I'm not really into, but it didn't take me out of the book like some things would have. Andreas and Zacharias were the 2 main characters. Zacharias was the mafia daddy, and Andreas was his boy that he meets at a club. And fun, interesting things happen throughout the whole book. I couldn't put it down. And like I said, I love it when she writes dark very well. She writes it amazingly, and I kind of wish she'd write more of it.
Well, let's start a petition of some sort. We can probably get that done.
Although I think she is, because I'm supposed to be being a beta for her for a
When I
couple of
talk to
others.
her, I seem to remember that she enjoys the dark stuff. I'm not talking about chicken. But congratulations on the release, Ashlyn, as always. And thank you for, even though you cheated around our little hockey challenge, other than that, you did a great job putting everything together this week.
I didn't
Lisa.
cheat. There was hockey in it.
Thanks, Liam, for sending in a sample for us. We really do appreciate that. And congratulations as well to Kurt Graves, who had the most release of any man I've ever seen in my life. That was released all over the place this week. So
Thank you, Kat, for the tentacle hockey.
The tentacle hockey. I forgot about that. Yeah, I guess I'm going to have to read that at some point. Y'all enjoy,
It's got
have
hockey.
fun. We will be on schedule for next week. My apologies for last week, but it just fucking didn't happen. So enjoy, and I'll be in the booth here in about
You're
an hour and a
having
half or so.
tech issues.
Exactly. But we do have, by the way, K2SO. Look at that. We got a new laptop.
Now, who's K2 named after?
Rogue One, the droid in Rogue One. Remember the droid that is kind of...
Lando's droid?
No. That's not Rogue One.
No, that was
Han Solo, a Star Wars story.
Oh, that was Solo.
Yeah, Rogue One, who is actually... He's a famous actor that is doing the droid there. He was in Firefly. as well. He was the pilot. Anyways, it's a fantastic droid. That's K2SO.
I'm trying to think of. Oh, yeah, him. Okay.
Yeah, him. You got
Okay,
it. So
I get it now.
K2SO.
Oh.
Got the lovely computer, and he's doing his job beautifully. So, anyways, have fun, y'all. We will see you next week. Enjoy.